Hi, my name is Zenzi and Stefan. This is a quick, hopefully, video. They're getting started the second time reading Fear of a Black Universe, which I got nothing but love for all the dark matter and energy. And I'm on the page. It's 38, where you're describing superposition. And it's interesting because I also resonate with your stories of being on the bay in Trinidad. And I'm here on the Monterey Bay watching an interesting thing where you're in this lull period of a big winter storm. And like the waves are flat. These three surfers all wet-suited up, figuring out something to do. They're over here. Oh, I just missed them. They don't get to do it long. They're doing is they're going up in the sand. Then they're running down to the slick part where the water's, sorry, it's just fascinating. They're doing reverse surfing. They're sliding down the sand and catching just as the waves hit. It's quite fascinating because some of them have caught some momentum. Look, I'm the outlier who's come up with a unifying theory of human energy, potential, and well-being from a philosophical hypothesis I like to call bio-electromagnetism, which sorts the hard problem of consciousness into an easy pivot, and then explains everything from consciousness outward. Call it a PO, a philosophy of everything. And I'm pretty sure, hypothesis, I'm a philosopher, a wise, feminine, creative, life-centric thinking philosopher. And I've got this insight into why the universe is expanding that I don't think you'll be able to not follow up on. Now, I've written a lot, and this is just a real brief. It's hard to be my own gaffer here. Everything's going on. There goes the guy again. Can we see him? Yeah, it's like they float on the surface, do a little surfing for about like 3 feet, and then it's just like, but life force, human potential is fascinating. And these last approaching 600 years of whiteness have done violence to so much of our species. And I truly believe that my life's work, #wellbeing philosophy, thinking about how we think about being human, is going to change everything. The ABCs are anti-racism, bioelectromagnetism, and consciousness made clear. What I want to do is be the founder of #stand-up philosophy. I mean, Dave Chappelle got there first. He just don't call it that. In DC, mensch that he is, will like my style and will insist I get a similar paycheck. What I'm going to do once I create my little Entercation empire, and that's outlined much more linearly in the email, is found a philosophy, physiology, and physics research. Think bike. Forget the tank. We would stop with the military stuff. A think bike in the Caribbean, perhaps Africa, where we can figure out how to unite as one species, get rid of all the stinking thinking that has us in all these categories and silos and divides us by skin colors and genders and sexual preferences and abilities, and it's madness. We're all African ancestrally. We are all, that's my puppy, Zanzi. We are all utterly unique and vastly different. That's the complementarity of life. The particle wave complementarity exists within us, and we have to expand our thinking in order to always be able to hold. Biologically, we are almost identical. But in life experiences, we are vastly different. And you combine the complementarity of the biological similarities and the life experience myriad of potentialities. Quantum physics has to explain life force. And life force has to be thought through in terms of quantum reality. I think it all ties together really, really, really well. But it's also quite hard to explain in a linear approach. It takes a concentric wave, nonlinear, even perhaps trance, flow state, altered states of consciousness. Here's where this theory comes in. Ben Franklin got the lowdown on electricity really early, got his kite and key. The way I started pondering bioelectromagnetism through tuning forks, medical musical tools, and the particular modality that I use, biofield tuning, has the hertz on the different forks. And we have two that are very specifically set up to create a binaural beat, two frequencies, when subtracted, equal the Schumann resonance. It immediately takes anyone really, and over time you really get to understand instantaneously how to come down to the brainwave alpha theta cusp. That's what all the meditators and the mindfulness guys are just focused on. And everyone's like, I can't figure out how to meditate, mindfulness. Nobody's really in control of their brain in our current society. But sound controls the brain. You can entrain, using tuning forks, your brain waves. Now there is an unscientifically explored vista. Don't ask me why we got beta, alpha, theta, delta brainwaves from 24 hertz down to 0. But there's also gamma brainwaves. This is cutting edge, bespoke IP. Altered states of consciousness reside in the gamma brainwave frequencies. I basically said, in the Google, there's not a lot. I've looked at some research out of MIT. There's a little bit going on there, but it's a lot of the woo-woo people. Grok it. I can't say anyone besides Joe Dispenza. In his book, Being Supernatural, there's pictures of people who he's figured out through various means and methodologies of meditation, group meditation, of raising people's brain waves up into gamma frequencies. And that then makes them super conscious. Einstein's superhuman concept. We were evolving and evolving and evolving. Well, consciousness is always evolving. And I think the appropriate word is expanding. out into the biofield. Biofield is a National Institutes of Health term for basically the electrosmog of our brain and our heart. If you look at the Heart Math Institute, the brain goes out in inches, the heart goes out like 6 feet. Tying all this together, we're learning about superposition, superconductivity, Heisenberg's uncertainty principle, Gödel's incompleteness theorem, Helfrich's life-centric complexity axiom, and the MC Hammer dictum. When you measure, include the measure, pretty much what Heisenberg already said. Got one more place where the fifth force, you can tie this all together with your physics special sauces. Holler, let's chat, let's record a Zoom, let's do some Nobel Prize quality collaborating. And not just in the academic field, the academy's sort of out of my range, but entercation. A jazz musician reading this book, you're committed to spreading real knowledge across everyone who's been cast asunder by the rules of whiteness. Let's do this for real. You got Chuck D on the back. I got MC Hammer right here in the Bay Area. Dave Chappelle. 5 of us talking through things. And many, many, many other configurations. I think that's a nice way to just conceive it. I mean, couldn't be ignored. And all those guys, I think, will really step to the challenge. Educating the youth. Showing the white powers that be how fucking wrong they are. All this ties together. You know, Google, all the rest of them, they don't care if anyone has bachelor's degrees. The academy is in a real tough jam. And I'm the one coming out to say, well, here's the value of a bachelor's degree. You could solve consciousness, which how many thousands of men couldn't, because they kept denying their own humanness. That's my special sauce. Baking the humanness into everything that we think we know. And if the humanness, if the body, if the intuition, if the feelings, if keeping people and all life on earth alive, if that doesn't happen with a certain bit of knowledge, it's useless knowledge. All right, went into that speculative bit there. Some knowledge is useful even if it doesn't keep life alive a little bit. It's useful to know how to build a bridge. I concur. My thinking is always all life-centric thinking. You know, not really concerned about stuff-centric thinking, and definitely very much against the money-centric thinking that continually bosses life around. Life-centric thinking, it's the concept that belongs to all 7.9 billion humans across every nook and cranny of Earth. In order to get there, I need somebody with your ability to validate I'm onto something around consciousness and human functioning. And then from there, as you're interested, do a little jazz, do a little African drumming and dancing alongside having some really deep physics and philosophy-centric conversations. It's a pitch. Holla.